we are going to, actually what we want to do is going to lead to an endless war with the rest of the world for the next 100 years. They're not saying that, right? But if what they say they want to do is what they actually want to do, that's what they're talking about. So yeah, there's a reason why they're not very explicit about what they want to do, because it's not sellable. Yeah. There's one more here. Okay. Yeah.
You had discussed the importance of the U.S. and Iran working together, but Iran's foreign minister recently came out and said that they refuse to cooperate with the U.S. So, I mean, how would that work? What do you have to say about that on Iran's part?
Well, so I just don't believe a lot of the public rhetoric. I just believe that there's two stages of diplomacy going on. The Iranians have been looking for sort of an exit strategy on Syria for some time, and there's a lot of overtures that they're willing to work on that. And I just think that for domestic political reasons, and on the Iran side, they can't talk about working directly with the United States, and on the U.S. side, they can't throw Saudi Arabia underneath the bus and start working with Iran. But the military dimensions on the ground demand that a line of communication be opened, if not directly through third party, through Baghdad. And for me to believe that that conversation isn't already happening, it's crazy. Any military strategist understands what's at stake. The United States is going to, knows exactly which militias are on the ground, in what locations, they know under whose command and control they are, and the Iraqi forces aren't it. It's Shiite-backed, Iranian-backed Shiite militias that are effective military capacity in Iraq. And so the United States is already working with Iran. It's just a question on whether or not there's political will to make that the entree point to a larger geopolitical, not reconciliation, but transformation where Iran is seen something like China. There's a stark rival in the region, but not an enemy.
Well, I can put Turkey in the same category. The Turks have taken exactly the same position officially. They're not going to be involved with this, and I think this is partly because they realize that what is being planned is not going to work, and they don't want to be left holding the bag when we decide, okay, enough bombing, let's go home, right? And as far as the Iranian case is concerned, it fits into this wider picture. Right? The elites in the region, including the Iranians, right, have to work out something which is going to provide stability, security, accountability, and some measure of economic prosperity to people of the region. And it's only when their existence is threatened that these guys are going to sit down and actually do something. Otherwise, it's always, we've got another 5 years. Like all politicians, right? Kick it down the road. They need to solve it now.
Call it time?
Actually, we are out of time, but I would just, because we're ending it, could you all just really briefly summarize the question we're asking in 1 or 2 sentences? What should the United States do about ISIS?
Wow.
It's an unfair question. You got 2 sentences.
The United States should do nothing about ISIS until the local governments agree to change the way they run the show in that part of the world. They created the mess, let them clean it up.
The United States needs to figure out a what sort of political solution it wants to see in Syria, and I think that has to involve some greater involvement with Syrian rebels. And we haven't done that as much in the past, and I think we need to do more of that.
Okay. ISIS doesn't get fixed through Washington. It gets fixed through Ankara, Tehran, and Riyadh. And so Washington should just host a bunch of dinner parties with those folks.